what's your favorite series in the franchise?
Hmm. As far as a series goes, I would say it's a toss-up. It's gonna have to be like the original classic Where Are You slash Scooby Doo show, or Mystery Incorporated. Like those two are kind of neck and neck. Those two I can watch, and I put it on, and I'll be content.
What's your favorite in iteration of Scooby Doo?
I really liked the original. That's the one I watched with my dad growing up.
Hmm.
That's the one that aired on Cartoon Network. There was also What's New Scooby Doo. That was kind of my time, Scooby Doo, early 2000s. It came out not long after the 90s movies and kind of had those character designs. Uh, but yeah, if you were asking me to remember an episode from it, I probably wouldn't be able to. Is the 1969 one is always the one that comes to mind for me.
I was a big fan of that one. I was a big fan of a pup named Scooby Doo.
That's a good one.
I used to love that.
That's one I actually remember too. It's
What?
red herring.
Yeah, I love red.
Always red herring.
Always red herring.
It's definitely a tie between A Pup Named Scooby Doo and Mystery Incorporated.
See, I liked Mystery Incorporated except for the second season. I don't think the second season hooked me as much as the first did.
Yeah, it's kind of like a situation where you have them trying to take a different direction, and then you kind of realize that maybe maybe they didn't think that they were going to go any further, and then we have to come up with a second season. I kind of felt the same way with like other shows like the Men in Black animated series or various others, where you definitely feel like they were able to have that lightning strike in the first season, then it just kind of like felt a little bit off when you see the second season. But I like the direction that they were trying to go with it, where it was definitely leaning more towards like a macabre style spooky atmosphere, very similar to what they did with the Mook animated films of the 90s and early 2000s, like Zombie Island, Witch's Ghost, and various others. And I think that the storyline was actually what kept me intrigued, whereas like every single incarnation at that point was standalone. It was just one episode, one and done. But in this one, it actually had like a flowing narrative, which I actually really did enjoy. And as for Pup Named Scooby Doo, I really enjoyed that because I like the way that they were able to just spoof the formula in a time in which when the Scooby Doo franchise was getting very stale and people were just not really tuning into it as much as they used to. So they essentially like made fun of all the tropes and cliches, which actually made it a lot of fun.
And everyone goes to like Zombie Island as the best one. I still go Alien Invaders is my favorite out of any of the
Okay.
Scooby Doo movies, and then probably the live action ones right under it.
Hmm. Yeah, I mean the Mook animated films were definitely like the major ones because you had people who worked on SWAT Cats and many of the other Hanna-Barbera veterans were able to come in and write some of those movies, and they had a lot of elements that definitely was straying away far from what a typical Scooby-Doo incarnation was at that point in time. I think that once What's New Scooby-Doo came back, it was definitely trying to do a fresher take on the old formula that people had become accustomed to decades before. But the movies, at least the four Mook animated films, were able to come in and change things up a bit right before they started getting into a similar pattern when other animation studios took it over.
All right, guys, that'll do for today's episode of the Nerd Talk Podcast. Thank you for being here and making the show a part of your week. I want to thank the people on the panel today with me. Miss Patricia, how can people find you?
All right, you can check me out on oldschoollane.net. I have a YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/oldschoollane. I have a lot of other places you can check me out at. I'm on Facebook, I'm on X, I'm on Instagram. You can check out the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, all those places. New episodes will go there first, and then they'll go up in a few days on YouTube. Right now, we're going to be doing a series of new podcasts called Old Spook Lane, which is a series of spooky topics in conjunction with Halloween. You can check out the several years I've done that. We did various movies and TV shows, from Are You Afraid of the Dark, when we talked about the 3 live action movies. We did Tim Burton month last year, so if you want to go check that out. I also did a Scooby Doo podcast on my own 5 years ago, actually, celebrating the 50th anniversary of Scooby Doo. I had that long haired creepy guy, as we mentioned earlier, and I had Taylor Wyatt, aka Y Boy from Toon Grin, who also did the Scooby Doo Doo Corner. We talked about Scooby Doo. We talked about our favorite incarnations, favorite characters, all that stuff. I also even talked about Scoob, which was the 2020 movie that came out during the pandemic. So yes, Scooby Doo is something that we've talked about on Old School Lane. If you want to listen to more of our thoughts on it, so yeah. Again, Remington, thank you so much for having me on by. I really do appreciate it.
Yeah. I am still on Twitter, like just more like just I got settled in there, and even though it sucks, I'm still calling it Twitter. I refuse to call it X. I just think that's a stupid name. I'm old. I can be stubborn and cantankerous about this sort of thing. And mostly I'm there nowadays. I don't use Facebook anymore. I do have an Instagram account, but yeah, that's pretty much it. I've fallen behind on social media, like got busy with life and work and so forth. So
Are you still posting on Patreon?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. I do have a Patreon as well.
You clicked on this podcast with the Scooby Doo title. I'm sure you've seen his videos. It's hard not to know him. He's a legend in YouTube kind of review sphere. So
I'm really not. Like I really wasn't. I was very obscure. Like the most I think people did remember me for was either Scooby Doo or Gem when I was reviewing the Gem and the Holograms cartoon show. But thank you very much for having me. This was a lot of fun. I do enjoy talking about Scooby Doo. Like I said, it's probably the franchise that I have been a part of the longest, and
well, thank you for coming on it. Thank you, Gareth, for joining us. Where
You're
can I
welcome.
find you on social media?
You can find me on YouTube. I do have an X. I don't post on that often. I do get some. I do post some spicy stuff on there. Mostly my takes on certain situations. Nothing
I'm
too
blocked by
controversial.
almost every film critic on X. Blockbuster Buster blocked me. Linkara.
Linkara blocks everyone. Linkara is like, he's kind of a baby.
Doug Walker doesn't like me. He hates my guts. Did I tell you at Kineticon, he was so mad at me that I got up there. So he kept he was doing one of the panels or something. He was like dodging me, and so I went up to him. And he goes, "What are you doing at my booth?" I said, "Oh, well, I came here to get your dad's autograph," and it hurt his ego. You could see it hurt his ego so badly.
Yeah.
But
Oh man.
you know I am with guests. People don't like me.
But yeah, YouTube and X, Garrus Mod. Like I posted a gaming video a few days ago. I'm working on a Space Marine 2 video right now. That should hopefully be out on Saturday.
My name is Remington Keyes. Until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.